All right. Also, Americans are revolting against Biden's cultural transformation of America, at least his attempts to do so. Joining me now to talk about it is Bill Barr, former Attorney General and author of One Damn Thing After Another. And so, Bill, I want to say what I told you during the break on set here as we're rolling with the cameras. It's a terrific book.
Thank you.
A terrific, terrific book. Part of this book is a scathing critique of radical progressive culture. Taking religion out of the schools, taking God out of everything, stopping free speech, stopping religious freedom, stopping school choice. I want to let you narrate this because I think the points you make as a former Attorney General are crucial.
Right. Well, I think the radical left in recent decades has essentially left the liberal democratic family. Freedom has been painstakingly won over hundreds of years and reached its fullest expression in the Anglo-American tradition, the British system, and then really perfected with our American Revolution and our Constitution. And, it has to do with trusting the people, rule of the people, limited government, clear religious freedom, freedom of speech. The other tradition is the French Revolution, which is totalitarian. And these are people who think that, their purpose in life is to create nirvana on earth. There is no eternity. There's nothing outside material matter. And, we're going to arrange everything perfectly. So get out of our way. We're rolling. And all totalitarian movements have done that. And the progressives have moved into that camp. They're really trying to tear down our institutions and our system, not play within it as we have in the past with right and left wings, playing by the rules, trying to reach a consensus along the political spectrum. They are on the outside trying to tear down the system.
I'm reading you describe this radical woke as totalitarian. And I just, thinking all the things they've done to stop free speech, to stop religious freedom. And the other thing that, in some sense, is the most egregious is what they've done to wreck the schools, which are on a decline anyway.
Right.
But teachers' unions over parents, federal government over parents. And you are a strong advocate of school choice, as in the book, my pal and your pal Betsy DeVos was here in that very seat talking about school choice. But really taking all, not just God, just eliminating. How is this possible?
Well, as the Bible tells us, the human species has always gone through periods of apostasy, right, falling away from God. So there is a cyclical thing to it, and I think we're going through a very bad time for apostasy. People thinking they can live without God, and there are a lot of reasons for that, including technology and distraction of people, and the fact of the material progress, but. My Notre Dame speech, I made the point that our constitutional system is actually based on the idea that people can only be free and enjoy their freedoms and have limited government if there's a foundation of religious belief. And that's what the framers believed, and they wanted a robust religious sphere. And what the left is trying to do is tear it down. And first they tried to strip it away, and now they're trying to substitute all of their isms and ideology and indoctrinate children in materialist creeds that are really pseudo-religions. And I think that's one of the reasons you see all the craziness, things like transgenderism and CRT. But when you look at the public schools, what are their three missions? Reading, writing, arithmetic. We're losing. We're way behind the Chinese and other industrial countries. Create a melting pot. Help create a melting pot, a sense of oneness of Americans. They don't do that. They're doing the opposite. They're saying there are unbridgeable gaps among Americans with their ideology. So they're not performing two of the critical functions.
One of the things you wrote in the book, I thought was very, it's just this woke, extreme woke progressivism. There's no positive to it. It's all negatives. They spend their time attacking our system and attacking our values. Now, I think they've overstayed their welcome. I mean, we're talking about restoring life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, the theme of this show. I mean, I think there is a populist revolt against what they've done.
I completely agree. I think the groundwork is being laid for another 1980, another, where Ronald Reagan won, and we had 3 terms back to back, and we were able to deal with all the excesses of the earlier time and put America on the right track. That also teaches us a lesson, which is this is not a fight that's ever over in a free society like ours. We never sit back and say it's settled once and for all. It'll be a constant struggle. The lessons we learned under Reagan and his policies, the vibrance of our economy, deregulation, we're making the same mistakes we made before.
I think you're going to have to go back and be AG a third time.
Well,
I really think that's the long and the short of it. That was a joke, but not really. Right. You may be, restoring life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness is putting Bill Barr back in the Justice Department, which infuriated me, attacking the Supreme Court Roe decision like the day of, just attacking the court.
Right.
All right, we don't have to go there, but I'm just saying, it's one of the things that occurred to me as I was finishing up your book. Look at, other question though, I mean, this is essential to the woke progressive attempted takeover and transformation. They want to kick parents out of the schools, right? But they want to put in race, gender, sex, for grade school kids, among others.
Right.
I mean, that seems like a real bad trade to me.
It's terrible.
Real bad trade.
That's why I think at the end of the day we need vouchers. We need to put parents in control and stop a monopoly and have vouchers where parents can pick their schools. That'll lead to enriching education, increasing diversity of approaches, and there's really no argument, really good argument against it. But one of the things I want to say is this abortion decision is really important because it's a march back toward the idea of federalism. Have the federal government focus on the things it should be focused on, like national security, protecting the borders, doing other things that only they can do, and let these other decisions be reached through the democratic process in the states. It's a pro-democracy opinion, and the reason our court is going to lead us back to the Constitution is because Trump kept his promise to put judges on the court who respect the Constitution. I
mean, it's a great step away from absolutist government. I'm into this 18th century stuff. I'm reading the Declaration of Independence, of course. And I mean, I see parallels. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
Biden may not be exactly King George III. I think George was a little better looking than Biden. But we do it through the ballot, but that was a joke. But we do it through the ballot box. We don't have to fight a revolutionary war. But on the other hand, if the consent of the governed is lost, as it appears to be right now, then we have to have a revolt, what the founders called a separation.
Right.
You for separation?
Well, I
love that word, separation.
I am for asserting the power of the people here, and take the people who have usurped that power, brush them aside.
I got to get out. I think we're going to go dark in a minute. Bill Barr, former Attorney General. What's the name of his book? Put his book up on the thing one time, or you tell us the name of the book so we get it.
One Damn Thing After Another.
There you go. Terrific book. Great. Thank you, Bill.